Hi everyone, welcome to this course, Creating Investment Fund Categories Using Natural Language Processing, or NLP for short. So in this course, you're going to learn how you could use NLP techniques in Python to filter through an investment universe. In this case, we will be going through ETFs, exchange traded funds, analyzing their names so that we can identify which ones are candidates for analysis based on our needs and what we're looking for. That is what we're going to do in this course. So what we expect you to have here in terms of prerequisites, it would be some intermediate Python knowledge, which means we need to know some functions, pandas, what we expect you to know for all of our courses. And of course, know how to use an IDE, whether you're using VS Code, PyCharm. We're doing everything in Colab just to standardize the experience. And you could have some basic knowledge of NLP, although we will go through a lot of that here. So the introduction here, what the summary is, what are you going to do here? We're going to leverage natural language processing, specifically the NLTK library, to filter and analyze a set of 5,000 ETFs. And we want to identify specific investment themes, keywords that can help us build an investment peer group or universe that we could use in other projects or in other analyses, anywhere in the investment management workflow. And these keywords could be based on a geographical region, or they could be style related, large cap, growth, value, dividend, quality, momentum. There's no shortage, but the point is we have to identify those keywords that will help us make these peer groups. And why is this important? Is because, creating categories and creating peer groups is a fundamental task that you will be doing throughout the investment management workflow when doing investment due diligence and identifying potential managers when you have to fill, let's say, a bucket in your portfolio for small cap or for a dividend manager, and you need to find the investments. This way, we're going to give you a tool that you could filter through the funds based on their name, because the names are usually very descriptive, especially for exchange traded funds. And you could isolate that universe and then use it in all of your future analyses. All right, so our objectives. One, just learn the basics of NLP and see how you can apply it in a financial use case. We're going to combine the NLP with EDA, exploratory data analysis, and this is a key here, to isolate keywords that will help us categorize the ETFs. And then lastly, we're going to create the peer groups and universes of funds that we can use in various projects by creating functions that we can use with the keywords that we've identified in EDA to build those lists of funds or investments that we want to use for future projects. So what is natural language processing? So NLP is a way to train the computer with algorithms to understand and interpret human language, and make it possible to analyze text and come up with insights and predictions from it. And this isn't a huge technique. This is a key technique that ChatGPT and generative AI uses. These are the bedrock foundational coding that even the most sophisticated Gen AI still relies upon. So in finance, nowadays, this isn't new per se, but NLP has been used in finance for a long time now to analyze documents. It could be SEC filings, corporate earnings. It could be even sentiment from tweets, from X tweets and stuff like that. That's been done for a few years now, even before generative AI. So, and these techniques are all based on natural language processing. And in this case, we want to isolate specific ETFs based on the words in their names, fitting the targets. And, at its core, NLP is using algorithms to match patterns in text. And that's exactly what we're going to work on throughout this course. So the required Python packages here, we're going to be going through NLTK, RE, which is the regular expressions. The regular expressions is to search for the specific keywords or patterns or combinations. We'll walk through that. And then, of course, pandas, and we will be using OpenBB as well to retrieve the ETF, the massive ETF universe. So let's start with NLTK. What is it? So again, it's been around since 2001. I mean, that's pretty amazing that a Python package created 23 years ago is still a foundational tool that that things like ChatGPT use, to build their language, their large language models. So it's a massive library that gives you the ability to tokenize. Tokenize means to take, let's say, the ETF name and break it down so that every word is a token, and then you could manipulate the tokens. You could analyze them. You could get rid of the ones that don't help you. If the words "the" or the company names like Vanguard, that's not going to help us tell. It's not going to tell us what the fund does. It's just a company name. So the library's got some powerful features and functions that are going to help us filter through the ETF names. And again, 2001, it's still relevant. Yes, there are newer packages. There's Spacey, there's Transformers, but at its core, NLTK is still an extremely popular choice and very popular. And it's still used very widely. And lastly here, what we're going to do in finance here, like we said, is we're going to use it to tokenize these ETF names, break them down into individual words, analyze the individual words, and isolate keywords that will help us classify these ETFs into different categories. All right, so RE, the regular expressions package. Okay, so this one, regular expressions is essentially pattern matching in text, strings, numbers, and we are going to try and find the target words in the tokens based on the tokenization that we've done in NLTK. And, could be, like we said, a pattern could be growth, could be value, could be large cap. There's no shortage of patterns that we can try and search for, whatever's going to help us create meaningful peer groups. So in this case, it's invaluable for us because it allows us to extract what we're looking for. So when you combine it with NLTK to break everything up into individual words and then remove words that don't help us and then use regular expressions to find the words that do help us, well, that's a very powerful combination. So, the RE package, and I'm going to show you right now, there is a fantastic website called W3 Schools that has a really good tutorial for Python, and the regular expressions one's quite good. So we put the link here in the slides, and you can see like this example here is just a basic search. So it'll tell you, you can go here and you can actually try it out and try out all the code here. But what's really key here is understanding these categories, these meta characters that you would use beforehand to help identify, like there's an either or and backslash, this is usually, it's like an escape character, but it's really here. So like backslash lowercase w means you want to find an alphanumeric. So that's a key one. And then you could do patterns with that. So you can go through this, please, if you're not familiar with it. But of course, we will go through some of the regular expressions that we are using throughout the course. I just wanted to show it to you here as the resource that we are giving you as, an advice to go check out if you need to. Okay, here's just an example of how we can use it or how we could use it with our ETF names, right? So just imagine we had these names for ETFs, and we were interested in finding all the funds inside that list that had the word growth. So we would create a pattern using the regular expression here. R just means it's a raw string. And then the backslash B means we want a complete match of the word growth, doesn't matter where it is. And, the way we'll extract it is by doing a list comprehension. And you just do a list comprehension, cycle through all of the names in ETF names, that's this, and then add it to the list if it matches the pattern, and the pattern's growth. So match the pattern inside the name, and the name is every entry in this list, and then return a list that would just have the regular expression. In this case, it would just be Vanguard growth. We're going to do that with 5,000 funds. Okay, so here is the key slide. All right, this is the one I really want you to take away here. What is the process? Okay, what is our process throughout this course? Well, first, we are going to do exploratory data analysis. We are going to use NLTK. We're going to tokenize, break down all of the ETF names into individual words, and then we're going to filter out the words that don't help us at all. It could be the company's names, could be like iShares, it could be UCITS. You're going to see that the word ETF is going to show up in almost every name. We need to filter that out just to make it easier to analyze all the remaining words. And then we've got to identify the key terms, and we're going to spend time on that. You know, a lot of it just can be your experience. You know that some of the key terms that a lot of them have, but if you don't, we're going to show you the way to think about this. When we go through these courses, it's not just about giving you code. We're also training you how to think. So we'll show you how to identify the key terms. And then once we have those key terms, we can build functions to isolate the funds that have those key terms. And once we have that, you have your peer group. You could then move along the investment management workflow pathway and then use it in, let's say, investment due diligence. And I'll just give you an example right now to close out this lecture. Let's say you're a pension fund consultant or you're a family office and you're looking for a manager for, let's say, US small cap. If you go back to our investment management workflow with that portfolio matrix that we showed you, imagine that you are doing a search for one of those line items. You need to find, the first step is to define the peer group. Who are the funds that you're going to look at? Well, you could start with all of them and then start doing a filtering based on performance or some other kind of criteria. But the first step is to create that peer group. And not everybody has access to Morningstar Direct or some kind of institutional grade software. So we're going to give you the procedure and the process to do it for yourself, to identify the funds that you can then use in other parts of analysis to create a portfolio. And that's what we're working on here. So I'm going to end the lecture there. We're going to move on to the next one. So the future lessons in this course, they're all going to be a couple of slides of theory and then we'll code it out. So theory code for each one. And then we're going to tie it all together at the end. Thank you so much, everyone. You're going to love it. There's a lot of great stuff that you're going to learn in this course.